Hello, guys. My name is Patrick Mensah, and welcome to a new week. So this week, I am going to talk to you about how to handle a data set with NA values. So as a researcher, sometimes you will go and then get an information or a data set in which the information, the data set is not complete, or sometimes they have NA values where it becomes a little difficult to, analyze the data. So, for example, when you have a data set and then it contains NA values, and then you want to do an ANOVA test or a regression model, the NA values is going to produce some errors. And then sometimes you would not see the number of observations very, very well because of the NA values. So this video is talking about how to handle them. Now, I have a data set that contains a missing values. So I am going to run the data set and then you view it. Then we see how we can handle the data with NA values. So I have a WEM data set over here which contains NA values. We know how to read the data from how to read the data from on R. So I am going to read it and I call it. So I press Command plus Enter. And then I also, if you want to view the data so that it will help us, we use the view command to do that. So the view command is here. Now let's look at it. Let's look at them. So you can see that the second observation has an NA value over here. The seventh value also have an NA value over here, and then 19th row also has an NA value over here. So we are going to learn how to handle them. So we use this attached data to help to make sure that the data sets, calling the data sets becomes very easy. So you can choose to ignore that though, but anyway, I really like it. So I attach it so that if you want to call the column, it becomes very easy for you. Now, when you have a data set that has NA values, there are two ways you can do that. One way is to remove all the NA values. Another way you can also do is maybe, for example, you don't want your researcher to know that you have removed some of the data, or sometimes your observations, you want to keep in touch with your observations. The best thing you can do is to replace all the NA values with a number, or let's say 0. So it means that those people didn't account for anything. So now let's look at how we can do that. So we are going to remove all the NA values. So this is what you are going to do. Removing all the NA values, there is a code for that. So let's say we want to create a new data set for that. So we say new data. So when you call the new data, then we say you say that NA.omit. So this is going to remove all the NA values in the data. So you call it, then you call it for a data set again. Now let's run it and see what is going to happen. So we have already run it. Now let's view the new data set and see whether the NA values has been removed or it's still there. So we can view the data. Sorry. We view the data set and then see whether it is still there. No, it is the new data set. So the new data set, the new data. Then let's run it and see. So now you can see that we have been able to remove all the data sets. The second observation is removed, the 7th and the 19th. So you can see it over here. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we can actually handle it. Removing NA values from a data set. Another way we can also do is to use a function that is called na.exclude. I'm going to show you how it is done, but this is quite different. This is because it gives you a different behavior in the functions in making use of the residuals and then predictions. What do I mean by that? This is not a main focus. It is found in regression analysis. I will show you when we get there. So another way we can also do that is by using the na.exclude data. So let me show you how to do that too. So let's say new data. Let's say a new data frame. We call for a new data frame. Then we say that, okay, this is what we're going to do. NA dot exclude. Then you call for the same data set. But this one, like I said initially, it is different because it is going to give you a different behavior in making use of residuals and then predictions. So anyway, let's run it and see. So we run that, and then we can view our data. If you want to view it, we use the view function. So we call for the new data frame. And then we run it, and then you see. So you can also see that this has also removed all the values, but sometimes the behavior that is going to give it to you in terms of making residuals and then predictions is quite different. So one way that you after you have done this, one way you can do to see whether there is a completeness of the presence of the missing value across the data frame. So is that you want to check and see if there is how do we call it? There is an any values that is still in the data frame. The best thing you can do is to use something called complete.cases. So let me write this over here. So I will say that to test for the completeness of the presence of the missing data across the data frame, this is how we do that. We use complete cases for the data. So that is the data, then you run it. So you can see that it gives you true, false, true, false, true, true, false over here. So this is telling you that when it gives you a true, it means that data does not contain an any value. But when it gives you a false, and it tells you that it contains an any value. So you can see that the second observation, the 7th observation, and the 19th observation is giving you false, false, false. That is how it is done. Let me show you another way we can handle the issue. Another way you can handle a data set with NA values is by replacing the NAs with zero. With zero. So we are going to learn how to do that. So what you have to do is that we are going to use the same data sets. So the data sets, the function that we can use to replace is not. Then you do that. Let me show you how to do that. It's very, very easy. So that one too, you call for the data set. Then once you do that, then you do square brackets. Then you say is.na. So is.na, which one do you want to work with? So the data, the same data we are using, then that one you replace it with what? Now we can replace it with any value. You can make it 1, 1, 1, 1 or 0, 0, 0, 0. So let's say we want to replace them with 0. So now we run it. After you have run it, now we can view the data to see if the missing values are there or it's not. So let's use the view function to view the data and see whether it is there. We run it, and then now you can see that all the missing value, where we saw the NA values has been replaced by 0. Let's look at them. You look at the 2nd observation, the 7th observation. So you can see that it's here. NA values have been replaced. Here too has been also been replaced, and then the 19th too has been also replaced. And it also replaced them according to the digits over there. So that is very, very, very nice. So if you are a researcher and then you go for it, you submit your questionnaires to people and they don't answer almost everything, you don't have to worry too much. Sometimes you have to either remove such questionnaires from the data set, or sometimes you might just have to use replace it by 0 just because they couldn't answer it. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.